New York City. New York City. New York City. I have lived in New York City for almost 20 years. When I first moved there, I said it would just be for a year. Then it would just be for 2 years. And now it's been 20 years, and I'm sure my lungs are black from the filth of the city. When you walk around in New York City, you have to cover your mouth, because if you don't, all the garbage that's blowing around on the street is going to land in your mouth. In a good wind, you could read the paper going to the subway and not even have to touch it. You get a free paper. Everything is blowing everywhere. And New York is covered with dogs and people and bicycles and cars. And a lot of people buy dogs that look like them. Little prissy women have little prissy dogs, and tough guys have bulldogs, and women with long hair, beautiful long hair, have Afghan dogs. Well, a lot of people who walk their dogs in New York have to be patient because their dog stops at every available place. A dog will go anywhere. And there's a rule that people in New York have to clean up after their dogs. It's a law. And thank God they don't have to pick up after elephants and camels. Dogs aren't bad. All kinds of dogs are everywhere. And the people in New York are just as diverse. There are short people and tall people and fat people and thin people and people carrying these huge music boxes on their shoulders, these huge boom boxes. I would think all the people in New York with the boom boxes would become deaf. Other people carry things that look like a very heavy suitcase. It's another boom box with a visual display of the volume of the music. It's great. You can see music. So there's all kinds of people in New York. Great big fat businessmen who are just coming from their 3 martini lunches. Of course, don't forget the steak and fries, too. Then there are tall, willowy models who stroll down the road. Then, of course, there's a New York Knicks player with these long hands. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? It's Ewing, of course. Yes, you're right. There are all kinds of different people walking around New York, and everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's in a hurry. You got to get there very fast. You have to walk really quick. You have to get to the subway. You have to go, 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 go. And I would never walk against the flow of the traffic. I'd never get anywhere. And there's all kinds of people running to and from the subway. Pretty people, ugly people, tall, short, thin, fat, black, white, yellow, all kinds of people go jam into the subway platform. And nobody stands above the yellow line because then the subway will knock you down. It's awful hot in there. There's no air conditioning in a subway platform. You can stand there with a little handheld fan, but that's about it. It's jam-packed. And you have to let the people on the trains out before you can get in. And everybody grabs their seats, and sure enough, I'm usually too late, and I have to hold on to a strap. I tell you, a can of sardines has more room than we do in that train. So we hang on for dear life. One man beside me may have underarm odor that could kill people. 8 o'clock in the morning, and it takes the curl out of your hair. The man on the other side exhales, and you can smell yesterday's garlic. It's not pleasant. There's another one sitting in front of me that looks like he's on a weekend pass. Finally, the subway comes to my stop, and I get out of the train, and I drag my way to the office, and I get to the office tired, sick, and hot, and I haven't even started work yet. That's New York. It is a filthy, hot place with such a variety of people. People go to the shows. New York City. The ballet is incredible. Ballet dancers with those tight buns behind their head. You know, if they let their hair go, their face would fall off. It's because their hair's so tight that their faces look so chiseled. Ballet dancers always look like this. They have these huge thigh muscles, no chest, no waist, and they're all wrapped up very tightly. If they took those ballet clothes off, they would just be soft and round like the rest of us. But they're all wound up. And there's always a little man in the pit, in the orchestra pit. He never gets outside. He doesn't get to see the light of day. He stays in that orchestra pit, and he has a very bad hairdo. And it's his job to deal with all the musicians. And the ballet dancers come out, and they do their thing. With their little tutus, they plie and toe dance. They're beautiful. The women dancers do graceful leaps across the stage. And then, from the other end of the stage, a man with gigantic thighs takes huge leaps across the stage to meet the lady. They dance like this for hours. He picks the prima ballerina up as though she was as light as a feather and twirls her around so that she should be dizzy. They continue dancing. The little man with the bad haircut in the orchestra pit is still doing his thing with all the musicians, and their musicians are playing, and the ballet dancers are dancing, and everyone is leaping and twirling and doing, and it's beautiful. And the people applaud, and it sounds like soft rain. It's not the kind of applause you would hear in a bar. There are no screams or hoots or hollers. The applause sounds like the soft pitter-patter of rain. The primary dancers come out to take their bow. Of course, the woman is concerned that her hair will come undone and her whole face will fall. She gets her flowers. They say their thank yous. They bow, and they do as many encores as necessary. Finally, they're able to leave the stage. Another place that a lot of people go is the Metropolitan Opera. Have you been to the New York Met? Oh, it's amazing. The stage is the size of 2 or 3 football fields. It's huge. The curtain itself must be a mile high. A few minutes before the show starts, they have to start rising the curtain. If they don't start early enough, the curtain won't be all the way up, and the show will start. It's much too distracting. And in opera, everything has to be just so. Well, in the New York City Met, they have tiers and tiers and tiers of seats. The cheap seats are way in the back, and you have to have binoculars or you can't see anything. Hearing people are willing to sit miles away for a show. I don't understand it, but that's the way it works. In a few minutes, the house is full, the lights go out, and the curtain has started to rise. The stage is huge. It's huge. Do you see this stool? This would look like a toothpick. They would think they're looking at a dollhouse if we used something this size. The props are bigger than life size. Everything is very beautiful. Now, opera singers come in all different sizes. And when the diva comes out, the house goes silent. And there's another little man with a bad haircut in the orchestra pit. I think they're all related. He starts the musicians going. And at the right cue, you can see the woman is starting to get ready to sing. She's filling her lungs with air. You can see nostrils starting to flare, and when she starts to sing, her voice goes all the way to the last row in the last tier. It's a $4 million voice. People all the way in the last balcony can hear every sound, and there's no one in the house making any noises. And then the baritone, with much too much makeup and lots of clothing, in all his regalia, comes out and returns the emotion in song. They sing their ballads, and when they sing at the same time, people are awestruck. The power of the voice could break glass. Hopefully we haven't broken the television lens. The voices build and build and build, and the orchestra leader has a little cramp in his hand from all of this excitement, and the crescendo comes. You could have a heart attack from such emotion. And then it's over, and the people roar with applause. There are screams of bravo, bravo, bravo. People rip up the playbill and throw it toward the stage, and it looks like confetti. Roses, bouquets of flowers in pinks and yellows and violets descend upon the diva. And the diva never says, "Oh, gee, thanks, guys, the flowers are beautiful." But she takes them with grace. And she stands there, and no one knows that she's so tired she could collapse right on the spot. Finally, the curtain comes down, the theater empties, and the work light is lit.